There we go. Okay, so guys, we are here for the Literacy Maps mini training. If you would like, actually, I'm going to ask you to type this into your browser so you have access to the slide deck that we're going to go over, because there will be an opportunity a little bit later for you to go through the slide deck and look at the literacy maps that way. I'm going to type it into the chat for you as well. It's http://go.bcsd.com/on7, the word on, O-N, 7. All right. So we are here today for this mini PD on the literacy maps. I do need to note that you will not be paid for this training because you are still during duty hours, but I think it's a great way to start delivering some little bits of information to you guys instead of waiting for a big Saturday PD or something like that. So here we go. We still work for Bakersfield City School District, and we have our mission, vision, values, and goals. We're still working under our core priorities. We're really focusing with this particular training on a cultural of teaching and learning, as well as student-centered schools, a little bit more than the multi-tiered system of supports. And your learning intention and success criteria for today are that you're going to familiarize yourself with the structures and the content of the BCSD literacy maps. And you are successful when you begin to use the literacy maps to support your planning and teaching. So these literacy maps were designed out of the literacy review that was conducted last year with Jan Burris and Kate Yaris, I believe is her name, Carrie Yaris, who wrote the book Shifting the Balance. They conducted a literacy review of the district and found that the district was in need of really having a standard scope and sequence of foundational skills. And so the curriculum and instruction individuals began to develop these literacy maps. They are a work in progress, so that means they're going to be adding and taking away from as time goes on. But they are, in my opinion, one of the best resources that the district has put out in probably the 27 years I've been with the district. They are very comprehensive and succinct in what they entail. And so let's go ahead and start to dive in. Today, we're going to look at the first grade focused literacy map. Even if you are an upper grade teacher, this is a good literacy map to go through and look at, because in the upper grades, they will reference if your student is lacking this skill or scores here on BAS. This is where you go at the primary grade to get the information that you need. So that's why we're taking a look at the first grade literacy map. So this is what it looks like when you open it up from the district website or any of those things. Sorry, I have a little bit of an itchy eye. You will notice that it does say work in progress down here, because it indeed is a work in progress. Like I said, they're going to be adding to it and shifting things around as time goes on, and as we learn more about what our teachers need within the district and within our literacy instruction components of our day. So each literacy map then has a table of contents. That table of contents contains word work, comprehension and vocabulary, writing, and then they have this universal access part, which we're going to call, for us in this case, small group. Universal access is really more of how you are designing and implementing your lessons, as opposed to a time block in your instructional day. That time block we're going to call small group. So our focus for today will primarily be in this word work area, because as a district, we've really focused on the comprehension vocabulary aspects of this with all of the past trainings that we've done with read alouds and shared reads and balanced literacy and independent reading. And the writing section is really right now just the writing standards, because many of our schools have implemented the right from the beginning and beyond thinking maps program for writing. So that's, if you're using this is kind of, I'm trying to get it in view. There you go. Put it on my face. Nope. Anyway, the right from the beginning and beyond is more of your writing program. And Therefore, they're not tailoring or specifically describing what should be done for writing at this time in that area. The next thing you're going to find again is the values, vision, mission, and our core priorities, and the fact that we have a culture of literacy. The next page in the literacy map is one that is to be kind of tabbed, if you will. This is the look fors that administrators are going to be looking for when they walk in your class. They're going to want to see that you are asking regular questions. They're going to want to see students using sound letter relationship when they're writing words and things like that. So this area right here, if you want to know what you need to be doing in your classroom, it's kind of this step if you're in first grade. They have one of these, I believe, for each and every grade level. And we're going to have time later in this presentation to go through some of the other grade level literacy maps. And I know I'm talking fast because I want to give you guys time to go through these on your own. This is just an overview of how they are set up. So our next page takes us to what a daily schedule or weekly schedule could look like for your literacy block, which would be between 90 and 160 minutes. You would have, say, 20 to 30 minutes for reading comprehension. That might include your read aloud as well as your shared reading times during the week. You would have a writing section, 20 to 30 minutes for what you're doing with your writing program. You would have a word work section for 20 to 30 minutes where you would focus on the phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, sound spelling correspondence, blending, what are my decodables, how am I doing my high frequency words, all that goes into word work. In the upper grades, you include a lot of vocabulary, especially content specific vocabulary in that area. And then we have our small group time at the bottom, and each school is different with these numbers. I know that. Also during this small group time, a lot of our schools are implementing the intervention program, and that's okay. This is not a set in stone. You have to follow it page by page by page. It is a guide. It is a map to literacy. The expectation with the word work is that you do try to implement and create as much throughout the year that you can based on the scope and sequence that's been given to you. So speaking of scope and sequence, we're going to go into our word work section. The next page becomes your foundational skills for word work because we're looking at first grade. Now know that the foundational skills kind of drop off at fourth grade. That's why when you're in fifth grade and above, they reference the lower grades, because at fifth grade and beyond, those foundational skills under the Common Core State Standards have dropped off. They expect that by the end of fourth grade, you have mastered each of these elements. But we know, especially with COVID, that hasn't necessarily happened. Then we go into what is systematic phonics instruction within word work. This page I love. What I suggest doing with this page is taking each one of these tabs right here, printing them up, and then putting them in a binder. So each of these are routines that you would teach. So for instance, if I wanted to teach phonemes in isolation, they have printed for us right here the phonemes in isolation routine that you would do for that skill. They have the routine for introducing your new sound spelling cards, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. They have them for the phoneme blending. This is how you do it. And then they also have them for, what are we going to do with our decodable text? Now, Penny, you would not have received the decodable text, but everybody else on your, and Shantika, you would not have received them yet either. I think we're trying to get them for you guys at the upper grades, but I'm not positive on that. But everybody else somewhere on your campus, you should have received a set of decodable texts. That set is supposed to be shared between the 2 or 3 mild mod teachers that are on campus, because ideally if one's working with the older grades and one's working with the bottom grades, you have about 5 books that focus on a particular skill within those Just Right readers. They're small, like 5-inch by 5-inch size books. They're blue and green and yellow and orange and turquoise, I think. But there's boxes of them that should have been delivered to your schools. So this is how we're going to work on reading those decodable texts right here. And if I go back to my literacy maps, this is how we teach it, all this right here. That's my how to do it. This is great also for our aides to have in their hands right here. On the next page discusses some review routines for the first 1 to 4 weeks. This is kind of like what we do the beginning of school. And it has the 20 days of quick phonological and phonemic awareness just to kind of get kids used to and into practice routines. If you are using Haggerty at your school, that would probably take the place of what is in here for phonemic awareness, because Haggerty is a whole entire phonological and phonemic awareness program. Are you guys ready for the gold mine? The gold mine. Next up, we finally have easily accessible a scope and sequence of phonics skills for first grade. Look at how nice that is. So I know exactly, Sandra. So not that this didn't ever exist, because it did exist. It just was difficult to find. So now we have it right here in our literacy map, and it tells you week 1, unit 1. I know I'm working on the short A sound. My secondary sound could be the final CK. And then I have all through the entire year where I'm going to be working on for first grade. So again, if I'm working with a 5th grader, and I know that my 5th grader at this point in time never mastered the final silent E syllable pattern, I could start right here, grade 1, unit 5, week 1. That's when they begin to introduce the long A with the final silent E syllable pattern. And then we have resources for that, which is even better. We'll get there in a minute. Our next slide takes us to high frequency words and BAS optional tests and for CFAs. These are also can be considered your diagnostic tests if you want to find out like what letters my kids know, what letters do my students not know, what sounds do they not know. This could be considered one of your diagnostics as well as the CFA to see how they are progressing. What you have in here that you do not have in the literacy maps, which is why I asked you to copy the link down, is a link to the heart words. That's this right here, explained. When we're talking about the routine for orthographic mapping for high frequency words, what we're doing is we're asking you to teach students how to kind of orthographically map words that don't always follow the general rules. So if we talk about the word said, all right, so said, if I say said, you say, thank you. Okay, we know that S is spelled with the letter S. We know that D is spelled with the letter D. In this word, E is spelled with AI. That's the part you need to know by heart. The word is said. Say said. Spell said, S-A-I-D. Okay, that's kind of an orthographic mapping routine. And what I've linked for you here, again, this is not in the other literacy maps. It's only in this presentation. It's also on our website, is the Heart Words Explained, and they are actually right here. And what's beautiful about this is if we take a look at the word the, it tells you right here the part you need to know by heart. Do you see down here where it says E makes the sound? It's our schwa and accent sound. For you, it tells you right here, the sound that it spells. We can go down, here's my said. There's my AI makes the S sound. So it kind of gives you those clues for you. Again, this is a great resource for our teachers. Problem is, at this particular time, this slide deck is not in line with the BAS words. I am working on that. It's just a lot of work because I have to find the BAS word in this PowerPoint and then transfer it over into a new slide deck and blah, blah, blah. It is a work in progress. I'm hoping by next August, I will have it for you guys by then, because there's 100 and actually there's 275 words, but I'm working on it for you guys. So that is our part with the high frequency words and our BAS words. Now we're going to get to the second, what should I call this? The silver mine instead of the gold mine, right? Say yes. Thank you. All right. For some reason, I'm on a precious metals kick. Right here, remember when we were up here and we talked about what the sound was? They have broken it down for you into now. You have your short A articulation video from Benchmark. You have words that you could use for oral blending and segmenting with those routines. They have provided for you blending lines to practice reading those. This was prior to us actually getting our Just Right readers with the sound focus for our decodables. So these could be used as decodable. Then they have the secondary sound, and then they have the benchmark decodables and sentences that you could use along with that specific sound. I believe they are going to be adding the Just Right decodables in over here as well. What I have done for you guys, again, this is only found in here and on our website, is I've taken these blending lines and I have turned them into a Google Doc. So what you can do with this Google Doc, let's go to grade 1 blending lines. This happens to be the secondary sound just because that's what I clicked first. There's 1 page per sound. So you could print that up and either A, make a poster of it, print 2 to a sheet or 4 to a sheet, and then cut them and make a little book for kids to read through. But they're all right there, quick and easy for you. Just go print. And they're all right there for all the units. So this particular document here is about 30 pages long because there is 1 particular sound per week per unit. So there's 10 units, 3 weeks in each unit. That's 30. Right? Math people? Perfect. Yeah, we're going to go with 30. All right. So they have that for each one. So remember when I was talking about that long A spelled with the silent E pattern, week 5? Was it unit 5, week 1? 1? Yeah, Amy's saying 1. Okay. So we're going to come down here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, that's 4. Let's go to 5. So here we go. Here's my long A final E with my articulation video, words that I can blend and segment. Here's my blending lines that build on each other. And then here are some decodable texts that go with that specific sound. So I can spend some time during the week on these things. So they go through that. And then, like I said, they have the next section, which is our comprehension and vocabulary, where they talk about the read aloud, shared read, and independent vocabulary. Again, in this document only, I have linked the comprehension continuum and the questioning doc. That is this document. Raise your hand if you remember ever seeing this document in your whole entire life. Okay. Yep. So there's that one. And then there is this one here, which is kind of the newer version of it that we got during Summer Institute. Either one, that's your questions when you're doing your read aloud, your shared read. Even some of your guided reading practice or your decodable practice can be used with this for comprehension. And each one of these slides beyond here kind of give you a descriptor of the read aloud. And then for building additional vocabulary with your interactive read aloud, they have the dialogical conversations right here, which is where you're expanding on what students say. So you might say something like, what were the bad wolves trying to do? Blow the house down. Oh, so that wasn't right. The big bad wolf didn't blow the house down, did he? With the 3 little pigs? Yeah. 2 of them, and the 3rd one he didn't. Golly, wow, I need to remember my nursery rhymes. So what was he trying to do? He was trying to blow the house down. Okay, yes, that's great. So let's put that into a big sentence. The big bad wolf was trying to blow the 3 pigs' houses down. How many did he get? 2. That's a 1-word answer, correct? So now we're going to put that into a complete sentence and we're going to expand on it. The big bad wolf was able to blow the 2 houses down because they were poorly made or made of weak material. So that's kind of what a dialogical conversation is in the 30 seconds that I went through it. It's an extension of what's being said, so you're not just ending kids with one word responses. The next section we have here is a little bit more on vocabulary instruction, and then we go into our shared reading, and it kind of just gives examples of what the shared reading is. Again, these are all trainings that we've had throughout the district for a long time, but they're in this document again. And then we have our writing. Like I said, the writing is a work in progress right now. All they have are the standards for the writing. And then the next section, the universal access, this is really kind of more of our small group instruction, independent practice. And they have the kind of examples of it. You could be doing rotating centers at the same time, which is kind of a little bit about what's going on here, but those are all described there. So we have about 5 minutes or so where we're going to allow, or well, I'm going to allow you time to explore the literacy maps yourselves. So this right here is linked to all of the grade level literacy maps for the district. It takes you right here. So go ahead, and we're going to spend 5 minutes going through these literacy maps, and then I'm going to call you guys back together at about 2:56, 57-ish. Sound good? Perfect. Thank you.
Luder, I was a little late. Can I get the presentation link?
Absolutely. Sorry about that. I'm going to type it in the chat for you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, goodness, Sandra, I'm sorry. There you go too. You got it? Okay.
Okay, so I'm missing, which slide was this one on with all the grades? I am looking for.
It is the slide that looks like this, because
Okay.
that's what it looks like on the district website.
Mine is on
49, slide 49.
49,
I
okay.
think you have it linked on slide 5 too.
Perfect. It is linked here. Yeah, it is linked there. Okay, we're going to come back together if that is okay, everybody. What I'd like to know is what you found within the literacy maps that you could use tomorrow, that you could use during your PLC, and that you might be able to use after you study it a little bit more. So if you'd like to share, go ahead and take yourself off of mute and share that information with everyone.
I mean, we've been using the benchmark advanced scope and sequence stuff for a while during our small groups. What we found challenging this year is time constraints during that UA time for SPED students to be able to support them in all the literacy elements, and how to actually manage that in 45 minutes of time or 30 minutes of time, depending on what we
What
have
grid they're
available. So, and all the varying levels is really hard. So if, we only have one aid to support us, and if we have 3 different levels, that's been our
That's a
biggest
challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an area perhaps with more support, or how to do more with less time, maybe.
Yeah.
even.
But
Okay.
we print like the oh my gosh, whatever it is, the advancing phonics part, like from each week.
Yes.
And our kids really do like the word work stuff. They enjoy participating in building those words, but I think just trying to tie it all together, this
Yeah.
will help.
Good. Okay. Would anybody else like to share? Not required. Okay, so let me tell you how to get to the literacy maps. There's 2 ways to get to the literacy maps. Well, 3 really, because you now have this presentation. But from the bcsd.com, you need to go to departments, you need to go to curriculum instruction, then you need to go to ELA, and then you go to the literacy maps. From our website, meaning the Mild Mod website or our Inclusive Services Department website, you go to go.bcsd.com/75. Click under resources for ELA, and it's right there with literacy maps. And again, that symbol is the same symbol. The symbol is the same on both websites. So that's how you get to them. And we have 1 minute left, which is enough time for us to pop in the chat my evaluation. Did you find this training valuable? 0 would be it's a waste of time. 1 is an it's okay. 2 is it's a good. 3 was it was great and I wish I had this back in August and I can't wait to apply it. So if you would pop that into the chat, I would very much appreciate it. And then you are free to log off unless you have something you need to chat about. So I appreciate it. Yeah, Shantika, we'll have to get there. It'll be good for you. Yeah, I agree. Homework over the weekend. It's okay. You can take a break. Thank you. Thank you, Naomi. Thanks, Amy. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend. Don't head to the ranch, though. It's too hard to get to and it's snowing.
I was going to say, one day I'll see you there again.
You
I
will.
promise.
Yeah.
Not anytime soon.
So,
All right. Thank you, Amy.
thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too, Sandra. Take care.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too, Shantika. Take care.
Goodbye.
I'm gonna.
Hey, did your daughter pass Rika?
Yes, she did.
Okay.
Yes, yes, she
Awesome.
did. Thank you. How are you doing on it? Actually, here we're on a record, so let me stop recording first,
Oh.
okay?
Okay.